From the bottom of my heart, I have never ever ever seen a group of bus enthusiasts that is so out of touch, that is unbelievably disconnected from reality, a group whereby the members are so hot-headed and stubborn to the point whereby they don't accept any form of constructive criticism, regardless of who's the one giving said criticism. Because if you take a look at your Discord server's history, it's not even about them wanting to actually engage in meaningful discussion. It's just one person pushes an idea and everybody has to fall in line and agree with the person who pushed the idea. If the idea isn't in line with their own invented core principles or fundamentals of like their own version of bus planning, they don't accept it. So it's kind of like I tell you this and I want you to agree. See, here's the thing, like throughout my experiences like interacting with Singapore bus enthusiasts, uh, there is like this group that comes from like they have a school history and like pathlight or something along those lines. Improvement may be slow, but the thing is, eventually they improve. And their thought process or like the routes that they design eventually become more and more coherent over time. Even if it's not 100% coherent, but at the very least, there is some form of improvement. And unfortunately, I just cannot say the same thing about this group. You guys know who I'm referring to. Then there's also the other extremist train enthusiast who hates buses to the core. Well, same shit, different mode of transport. And I'm not gonna lie, when I saw their 43E, they changed it to 43F, and then they came up with like a brand new skip stop bus service which they called 701 if I'm not mistaken. Apparently that's not 107 or 107M, it's just meant to be a standalone bus service if I remember correctly. Like that actually gave me hope. And then a few weeks later they dropped their infographics, like the 10 points on how to, quote unquote, improve the Singapore bus network. So I was like, never mind, I was right. They are still deluded. It's one thing if just one individual is deluded, it's pretty much an echo chamber. But as you can see, the biggest issue is that one person is deluded. He tries to spread his own delusion to other people, other young people to be more specific. Other young people, they are more impressionable and they just buy into the delusional person's nonsense. If it's just one delusional individual wasting his time writing articles or doing infographics, then okay, it's just one person's time getting wasted. The one concerning thing is that he's just like coordinating all of it, getting people to come up with routes for him, do all the infographics for him, unconditionally support him. He's not only wasting his own time with his own delusions, but he's wasting other people's time as well. He's like getting people to invest in this project as if their entire life depends on it. And I feel really bad for the people that just buy into his nonsense. Like his own supporters can claim that, oh, like my viewers are like extremely loyal to me or stuff like that, when I have never ever said anything along those lines. I never told people to pledge their allegiance to me, and I never ever expected people or my viewers to be loyal to me or what. All I want is just to engage in discussion. That's it. Yet they don't say it out loud, but they pledge their allegiance to said delusional person at the same time. Instead of actually taking the constructive criticism and adjusting their ideas according to people's objective feedback, when people leak their unfinished stuff to me, they just start like banning people from their server or hiding the Google Sheets. It's like, what's the point of hiding the Google Sheets when all of the content inside said Google Sheet has already been reviewed by my previous video, like in my previous video. Like, instead of like actually listening to people and what they have to offer, they start censoring everybody that doesn't align with their ideals. Because if your fundamentals, let's not even talk about fundamentals. If your thought process for like when you propose a bus route is already bad in the first place, there is pretty much no fixing it, especially if you're the kind that doesn't take criticism well. Like, if your thought process or your idea is really bad in the first place, nothing good will come out of it. Because if people don't like identify the root causes of their own bad bus planning, they will never improve. To put it simply, they are not the only ones who have these route amendment ideas. Like, what was meant to be a simple, light-hearted discussion on whether it is okay to swap the sectors of 56 and 980, basically the simple idea is that, and it's not a serious idea, it's just, what if 56 went to Lorong 1 Geylang Lorong 1, and what if 980 went to Marina Center instead? Conceptually, just a simple sector swap. And I don't understand how this service got involved in the sector swapping, and consequentially, how this service got involved as well. Let's say you are unsatisfied that 14's runtime is way too long, and therefore you want to swap the sectors. Not really swap the sectors, but like, let's say between Bukit Merah and Clementi, you don't want that sector to belong to Service 14. And you want to transfer the problem over to, and you wanted to transfer that sector of Service 14 to Service 16 instead. So basically 14 becomes like Bedok to Bukit Merah, and then Service 16 becomes Bedok to Clementi. Whether you agree or disagree with this, at the very least, okay, I understand your thought process. You just want this sector to be transferred over to the other service. So I don't understand why people then go on to suggest Service 16 being extended to Beauty World instead of Clementi, which pretty much just destroys the purpose of why you even sector swapped in the first place. Like, it's just a poor conceptual understanding of last bus connectivity, like late at night, and there is just no way you could actually justify it to people why you think this amendment would work out. Like, why is it useful? There's just no justification, especially with this kind of haphazard like bus route planning. You see, like, every single time I'm just like praying that like one day they actually improve and prove me wrong. But day after day after day, they just end up proving me right instead. Like the moment I noticed something was off, I said something. Even some of the server members, they knew where I was coming from. The fact that he has all these like whack ideas in his head and tries to impose it on other people. Okay, to be more specific, you want to prove people wrong by actually showing that you are capable of improvement when it comes to like designing bus routes in general. But the more you censor people, the more you try to hide your stuff, it doesn't matter if it's like finished or unfinished. If your thought process is already wrong from the get go, you're not going to go anywhere. So basically, the more they censor and the more they try to silence people that call them out for their bullshit ideas, it further proves my point. So it becomes like a cycle of I expose their ideas, regardless of whether it's finished or unfinished, they hide it. I expose, they hide. I expose, they hide. To the point whereby I feel like as if they are not even trying to like hide it anymore. Like they aren't even being subtle about their agenda. They just want people, regardless of whether they're bus enthusiasts or non-bus enthusiasts, to agree with their whack ideas. And then, there comes the complaints about how they don't have the support of Singapore bus enthusiasts for obvious reasons. Because we see through their bullshit. We know what's good for the bus network and system and what's not. Like, you guys are the other ones that came up with a CDS merging with another CDS, like a city direct service, and becoming full day. And yet you guys have the audacity to claim that you care about the bus captain welfare and you guys are serious about cutting total run times to less than 100 minutes when you guys do the exact opposite of that, of what you preach. Just to clarify, their Relay Express, it's pretty much just like the current feeder expresses. It's just under a different name according to their own version, their own branding, okay. But their direct expresses, alongside their full day CDS plus another full day CDS, like the mergers, I don't know how they can properly justify it to tax-paying citizens that their taxpayer money would actually be used to fund these services that carry air, that would carry air, or have a very crappy farebox recovery rate. It's like as if they come up with all these like rules and regulations when it comes to planning their own bus routes, yet they are so inconsistent in the way they implement them. Again, there is just no way that they can justify to the public that the taxpayer money would be used to fund these point to point bus services to Lim Chu Kang, to Tuas, when nobody in Lim Chu Kang and Tuas is even asking for those connections in the first place. The biggest worry is that if they keep going on like this completely unchecked, like they still have their own Reddit, Telegram, all these like external platforms outside of like their own Discord or like their own website, people who don't know any better, and I don't blame them because they just happen to be more impressionable because of like all these like seemingly well designed nice infographics that could easily fool people into thinking that their ideas are actually good. If like people start looking up to them as like Singapore's aspiring young talents, as in like for bus planning, they start seeing them as legitimate, like an elite group of bus enthusiasts, They take their word like as if it's the gospel, and more people start blindly endorsing them as a group, led by one individual who is like masterminding the entire thing. They're gonna keep advocating for feeder services like 243G and W to be withdrawn and their sectors being transferred over to other services like 179, and as a result 179 completely skipping Pioneer MRT. They're gonna continue advocating for 97's effective withdrawal, turning 97E and 674 into full day bus services, even though 97E isn't really that sustainable in the grand scheme of things. Like, if anything, 97 would definitely survive Circle Line Stage 6, but not 97E, like in future. But it doesn't really seem to be the case because 97E is catered to, not really catered to people coming from like Shenton Way, but more of like Suntec, because 674 doesn't go to Suntec. But again, it's more of like Harbourfront and Alexandra. If they want a bus to like a quick bus service to Jurong East and Tengah, like if they're willing to pay express fares for it, then yeah. Whether 97E is will truly be useful or not, again, doesn't change the fact that like 97 has its own purpose, 97E has its own purpose, and 674 has its own purpose. It's just like how 502 and 657, they have their own purposes. But all in all, this kind of like authority lobbying really has to stop. The more their smaller ideas like 18M gets, again, objectively speaking, gets accepted by LTA or MOT and it gets implemented, the more leverage and false confidence to they would leverage on this and just use it, like basically they would, like basically, oh, LTA accepted my idea, I'm just gonna keep pushing more and more and more. And it doesn't really matter if LTA accepted or not. The fact is that they are trying to shape the public's perception of them. And I'm technically the biggest threat to them because I keep them in check. And nobody can expose their bullshit as well as I do, objectively speaking. Like basically they would get more leverage to think that, oh, it's actually okay to merge 240 and 246 into one green and white plate service because apparently Kangching Road and Taching Road is the same according to me, that kind of thing. You see, as an outsider, I do have a lot of experience with like bus routes in Singapore over the course of history. I mean, I am a late 90s kid, but I do read into the bus routes in the past as well, like from the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, yeah, stuff like that. Like basically, I have experience, but let's say in the context of like Jurong West, no matter how familiar I am with Jurong West, my opinion isn't as important, and my opinion doesn't matter as much as the people who are, regardless of whether they are public transport enthusiasts or not. As long as you stay at Jurong West, typically for like more than a year or so, for your opinions to actually matter. As long as you lived in a place for a prolonged period of time, I would say like more than 3 months. Just a benchmark. So what I'm saying is that my opinion wouldn't matter as much as the opinions of the residents, the people that actually live in the respective areas. In this case, it would be Jurong West. So this is why I really appreciate the actual residents for taking the time to leave comments on my videos telling me how like from their perspective, how they actually commute within Jurong West. See, here's the thing. Because I have experience, I just look at the route, I I would be able to deduce its purpose and, you know, try to guess how the travel patterns would be like and what kind of connectivity a bus route offers. I can guess, but I don't live in that area. And this is why the people who actually use these services, who actually commute using these services, they have more say than me when it comes to these issues regarding like route amendments in general. Whilst I am experienced, I never see my opinion as being more like my own insights that I have to offer to people. I never see them as more valuable as compared to the insights and opinions of people who actually stay in those areas. It just so happens that like whenever I talk about like a certain area, most of the time, according to my own commenters, they actually say that like, oh, I actually got most of it right, that kind of thing. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if it's surprising or unsurprising. I don't really feel anything from it. Cause it's like I have experience, so I'm not surprised. But at the same time, the fact that I can get it this correct, even without using the bus service much, like just by looking at the route itself, sometimes even I am shocked at my own ability as well, like in this case. However, this still doesn't give me the leverage to talk whack about a service that I don't even use that often. Because as a non resident, if I get it right, I hit it on the money, then yes, whatever I say would be considered valuable insight. If it's wrong, then I'm just lying to people. Okay, because the way I see it is like, um, if you are a non-resident and you happen to get the facts correct, like good for you. You know your content. But if you get it wrong, you would really look stupid. And this thing has literally happened to me before. Like when whatever my intel says doesn't turn out true or it manifests in a different way, like materializes in a different way. Like I said 171 was going to be extended to Tengah. They ended up rejecting it, and because they decided to send 984 uh, not into Tengah, but like what was supposed to be 171's planned extension route got given to 984 instead, eventually. Like 171 was actually supposed to go to Choa Chu Kang Avenue 1, but they decided not to do that. So I took accountability for my previous statements. I told people, like from start to end, uh, how 171's amendment was shelved and eventually replaced with 984. And then there was another case whereby, I mean, these are just examples. Like some of my intels have gotten it wrong before, and that's completely fine. I really have no shame in taking accountability for the things I say online or even in real life, correcting myself on the spot and learning from it. Wait, sorry, did I mention about the accountability thing? Oh yeah, I did. Sorry about that. I have goldfish memory sometimes. The same thing goes for like 97 because under the old LTA team, services like, 167, even though right now 167 has been spared from any further rationalization, they are even gonna silently uh, make 167 20-minute peak hour frequency again. Now 167's frequency, they're gonna improve it to 20 minutes during peak hours. The off peak, it will still remain as 30 for the time being, but again, they're gonna implement it silently. They wouldn't announce it. So this is actually kind of a form of damage control they want to save face. But really, I'm just the kind of person that doesn't really care about face, you know. As I mentioned many times, I just speak my mind. And people get offended for over what I say or the stuff that I put out, regardless of whether it's true or not, objectively speaking. So as I was saying, under the old team, like 852 was gonna get completely withdrawn, or at least truncated to become like a first mile, last mile bus service between like Bukit Batok and Beauty World, with the option to extend to like Turf. Is it Turf Club or Turf City? Turf City, something along those lines. But that has been shelved. And at one point, I'm not too sure about like 10E, but I'm pretty sure 196E is on the block. 853M is on the block, and they're gonna replace it with 966. But okay, back then, 97 and 97E under the old team before they got ousted from Bus Assets and Bus Planning League, basically the toxic team. 97 and E, they were actually slated in the worst case scenario for full withdrawal. And during that period of time, I told bus enthusiasts in Singapore that it was unrealistic to expect that 97 would be extended into Tengah, especially given that 870 already exists. It was supposed to be a 870 was supposed to be a temporary bus service, but now according to another one of my intels, they have confirmed that 870, just like 976, they used to be designated as like temporary services but have now became permanent, just like in the case of 12E, 43E, 960E, meant to be temporary but have become permanent because they're useful. And because of that, since there was already 870, it made no sense to amend 97 to Tengah. But when the new team, the new bus planning league, like they like there was like an entire reshuffle of personnel, and then here's the new team. They came in and then they actually allowed some degree of bus duplication or bus MRT duplication, depending on context, obviously. And apparently, one of the things that I found out as well, like literally just days ago, was that they were actually okay in letting 97 and 97E extend to Tengah. And there is nothing wrong with being wrong. Okay, I know that there was a change in the bus planning lead team, but people, okay, again, I don't care if I get stuff wrong. I can always correct myself in future videos. But again, people have to understand that in a different time context, like, okay, what was I trying to say? It's like this era, this period of time, that period of time, things are gonna be like the way bus routes are gonna be planned, it's gonna be different. And I just hope that people watching will be able to understand this concept. And that's pretty much it. Like, if I can be unscripted, unfiltered, and say out my true thoughts, and yet people who script their videos still get them wrong. Okay, not really about that, but it's like if I can take accountability for what I have said in the past, regardless of whether it's a good thing, whether I said a good thing or I said a bad thing, I got it right, I got it wrong, regardless, I can always take accountability and correct myself and learn from my mistakes in the future. Because I am not perfect, okay? I'm not Jesus. Even though people say I memorize bus routes well. So I was just wondering why. Oh, why can't people be more honest and why can't people take accountability for what they put out? It's like people, they have the right to openly criticize me just as much as I have the right to openly criticize people's stupid bus routes. bus route amendment ideas, suggestions, proposals. So why is it that bus enthusiasts are like that? Like, why is it that it now becomes a case of not losing face, trying to damage control after somebody exposed your bullshit? I don't get why people are like that. Is it so hard to like come out and admit your mistakes, admit that you're wrong? I do it. So why can't you guys do it? I mean, regardless of whether it's like addressing it through a video or through a comment or through private messaging, regardless, just owning up to your mistakes or your bad bus planning. Like, why is that so difficult? And why is it that when people remind you that you're gonna look really stupid, the more your group decides to say, we want to withdraw 243 or like a literal feeder service or like LTA extends 97 to Tengah, but we don't want that to happen. Or they introduce 831 green and white plate and you say they are useless services. I want to integrate that into my own trunk services or blah blah blah. Like they endorse you and then you're just making yourselves look really stupid. And then LTA and MOT would be thinking, why did I even endorse this group in the first place when all they do is spout nonsense? Like, it's just not a good look for you. The more crap you spew on your blog or your Discord server or whatever. But the main point about this video, I know this video is a little bit choppy because you guys know me. I don't want to script things because I just want to tell people my true thoughts, even though my words sound choppy. But that's the nature of unscripted videos anyway. I just treat my own videos like as if I'm doing a live stream. Yeah, I might just like pause here and there, but it's just sometimes I pause because I don't want to like take too long between sentences. Like I need time to like consolidate my thoughts after saying out every sentence. But I'm just quite fed up that like bus like I don't know, like liking buses as a hobby has really turned political. Not like, oh, which party do I support, that kind of thing. Even though you guys know, I mean, it's not really about, oh, I support this party, I support that party. No, no, it's like, why does it have to turn so political? You get what I mean? Not in the political party kind of context, but you get what I mean. And why has it turned into like this kind of like elitism, being invited to this or that? Okay, finally remember what I wanted to say. It's like, why is it about like saving face, like your image nowadays? Like, why do people try so hard to like uphold their image? Like they want people to portray them in a certain light. They're not even being honest about it. Like, why is it turning into like a save face slash damage control game when it comes to like the whole, I don't know, blogging, community outreach, Discord server, a collective? Like, why is it turning into this stuff? It was meant to be just like a normal exchange of ideas, but it's just turning into like a really political and a really hierarchy filled thing. I don't know how to say it. Basically, right? It's like bus enthusiasts are like desperately branding themselves for outreach or what. It's no longer about who gives the most like sensible ideas anymore. It's just about like it's more of like who gets the most like something like brand deals or something. It's like who gets the most endorsement from the higher ups nowadays. That is what is actually turning the community upside down. And not necessarily like the alienating. It's not necessarily like the fights that go on within the community or what. This is why I wish for the bus or the train side for this kind of elitism to, and this kind of like, oh, safe face, this kind of like, you know, self endorsement. No, I mean like this kind of like damage control, safe face, you acting like as if you're part of a brand or organization, even though you don't really matter in like the whole scheme of things. With the censorship included as well. Like censoring people who don't agree with you, that's one thing. Well, technically, I delete comments and I hide users from my comment section as well. But that's not really because, like, I get offended by them or. Wait, what was I about to say? Oh, and it's not really because, like, oh, they disagree with me or what. But no, it's just they're too much. They type stupid shit all the time. That's why I hide them. If you know that, if you guys actually noticed. Although, admittedly, there might have been like one or two times whereby the commenters disagree with me, but their reasoning for their like reasoning to back up their own points was so stupid and incoherent to the point whereby I just didn't want to deal with them anymore. So I just yeeted your comments and I basically just I press like hide user, that kind of thing. I think it probably happened like a few times already. But rest assured, it's because their comments are stupid and it's not because they disagree with me. Hey, at least I don't fucking try to pretend. In conclusion, when talking about like censorship, right? I'm not really fed up with like, oh, this platform censors me or what. I'm not. I don't really care much about that. It's when, in this context, bus enthusiasts try to like censor each other for uh, calling out each other's stupid ideas. You know, even if I'm at the receiving end, or if I'm the perpetrator. It doesn't matter, but it's more of like, oh, you disagree with me? Get out of my Discord server. This kind of behavior is what I'm really against. Which is basically the way the group has been acting like right now. No genuine interest to like actually discuss things. It's just everything is about me and my proposals. And that is really sickening. I'm not making personal attacks on people like I did last time. I'm just calling it as I see. I'm just saying it very objectively. I see bullshit, I call it out. That's it. Sorry for the long string of like antagonizing videos, but some things just have to be said. Because, like I've said, I don't give a fuck if people like me or dislike me. I just need to say what needs to be said or do what is right.